All right, so Roanoke. Roto. I mean, come on, who doesn't love a good mystery? And this one's got to be like the granddaddy of them all, right?
It's a classic for a reason,
It
right?
really is. Over 400 years. Over 400 years. And we are still trying to figure out what happened to those colonists. It's wild.
It's one of those mysteries, it grabs you, You hear about it and you got to know more.
And the more you learn, the weirder it gets, honestly. Like, it's almost like the deeper you dig, the less you actually feel like you understand.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I was saying to you before we started, going through all the research, all the stuff you sent over, it's like reading a thriller novel.
Oh, totally. Suspense, intrigue, you've got it all.
And that's what we're going to do today, right?
Yeah.
We're going to dive deep into this. We're going to try to untangle some of the threads of this story, figure out, what are the facts, what are the most compelling theories.
Yeah, because there's no shortage of those, let me tell you.
So for people who maybe, need a little refresher, set the scene for us. Late 1500s.
Okay, so think England's trying to, plant their flag in the New World, right? Establish themselves as a power. Big ambitions. And they decide to send this group of settlers over to Roanoke, which, by the way, is this little island just off the coast of what we now call North Carolina.
North Carolina, for all you geography buffs out there.
Yeah.
But this is important, right? We're not just talking about a bunch of, rugged adventurers heading out into the wild.
No. This is different. This was families. We're talking men, women, children.
Over 100 people.
Over 100 settlers all looking for a new life, And that's really important to remember because it makes this whole disappearance even more baffling.
It's true, right? Because you think about it. If it was just a small group of explorers, maybe they got lost, maybe they had a change of plans, but with families, with women and children.
It ups the stakes.
And it just makes the mystery even more intense.
And then, to make matters worse, their leader, John White, he has to go back to England. Supply run, those voyages took time back then.
Oh, yeah, this wasn't a quick trip to the grocery store, right?
No, not at all. He's gone for 3 years.
3 years. Can you imagine?
And when he gets back, 1590.
Everyone's gone. Just like that. Poof.
Vanished. Houses are empty. No sign of a struggle. No messages. Nothing. It's like they just disappeared into thin air.
It's creepy, right? Like, what happened during those 3 years?
And those 3 years are crucial. We're going to talk about that more in a bit.
Oh, totally. Because a lot happened back in England while all this was going down, right?
Absolutely. I mean, picture this. England's in a huge power struggle with Spain. Colonies. They're the name of the game. Controlling the seas, trade, resources, it all came down to who had the most colonies.
Okay, so the stakes were pretty high.
Sky high. England versus Spain, winner takes all. And in the middle of all of this, John White, he gets stuck back in England.
Because Spain decides now is the time to attack.
Enter the Spanish Armada. Huge, and I mean huge. Naval battles, ships, cannons, the works.
Like something out of a movie.
England was on the brink. And getting back to some little colony across the ocean, yeah, that wasn't exactly a top priority when the fate of the entire nation was at stake.
So White's stuck. The colonists are on their own. And then, nothing. They vanish.
Yeah.
But there is one clue, one weird, creepy clue that's fueled speculation for centuries. The word. CROATOAN.
Carved into a post, just left there in the settlement like a message from the void.
Spooky, right. And, I got to ask, who carved it? What does it mean? Like, does it point to what happened?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
CROATOAN, not exactly your average clue. It's like straight out of a history mystery mashup.
Totally. And it's got to be significant, right? Like, they wouldn't just carve a random word into a post and be like, well, see you later.
Exactly. And that's where the plot thickens, right? Because CROATOAN wasn't just any old word. It was the name of a nearby Native American tribe.
Right. The CROATOAN people. They lived on an island not too far from Roanoke, as I recall.
Exactly. So naturally, one of the biggest theories out there is that the colonists, they joined the CROATOANs.
They went native, so to speak.
In a way, yeah. I mean, think about it. If you're in a tough spot, low on supplies, maybe some conflict brewing with other tribes reaching out to the CROATOANs for help, for safety, it makes a lot of sense.
It's like become your enemy's friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in this case, maybe their neighbor's more like it.
Exactly. And remember, we talked about how there was no sign of a struggle at the colony.
Right. Like it wasn't like they were attacked or anything. No weapons left behind, no hasty defenses.
And crucially, no Maltese cross.
Hold on. Maltese cross. Did I miss something here?
Oh, this is interesting. So before John White left the colony, he told them, listen, if you guys get into trouble, if you have to leave, carve a Maltese cross into a tree.
Like a signal.
Exactly, a prearranged sign. That way, when he got back, he'd know they hadn't just upped and left on their own accord, you know?
Smart. So no Maltese cross probably means things weren't totally dire. Or I guess maybe they just ran out of time to carve it. Who knows?
Right, it's a mystery. Now, where this whole CROATOAN theory gets really interesting is this. Years later, English settlers who came to the area, they started reporting encounters with Native Americans who seemed to have some European features.
What? Like they looked part European.
Exactly. Lighter hair, blue eyes, that sort of thing. And of course, people started putting two and two together.
Thinking maybe these are descendants of the Roanoke colonists.
Exactly. It had to be them, right? So it's this idea that maybe, just maybe, the colonists really did integrate into the CROATOAN community. Maybe they intermarried, had families, and over time, their descendants became part of that tribe.
It's a powerful image, isn't it?
That's almost like a happy ending. Well, as happy as things could get in those times, I guess.
Right. A bit of hope in this whole mystery. But, this is a big but, there's no hard proof.
Of course not. There's always a catch, isn't there? We've got a word, CROATOAN one. We've got some later accounts, but no solid archaeological evidence. Nope. Not a shred. Or at least not yet. Archaeology, who knows what they might dig up next week. But for now, we're left with possibilities.
Okay, so let's say they didn't join the CROATOANs. What then? I mean, you said it yourself, 3 years is a long time. Maybe they waited for John White, maybe they waited for a sign for help, and when nothing came.
They took matters into their own hands.
Had to do something, right?
No.
So, crazy thought, could they have tried to sail back to England on their own?
Okay, now we're getting into some real deep-sea mystery territory here, because honestly, that would have been a long shot. We're talking, what, a bunch of colonists, not seasoned sailors, trying to cross the Atlantic?
In whatever rickety old boats they could cobble together?
Exactly. It seems crazy. But then again, desperation makes people do crazy things.
That's true. And fear. Who knows what they were going through, what they were hearing.
Maybe there was some internal strife, some conflict, maybe even a mutiny against whoever was in charge after John White left.
Ooh, a mutiny. See, now that's what I'm talking about. That's a story for the history books right there. But, okay, let's say they didn't brave the open ocean. What else is there? Inland.
Like ditch the coast entirely and head into the heart of the continent. It's possible.
I mean, it makes you wonder, right? What was going through their minds? What were they hoping to find?
Think about those early colonists. They were looking for the best place to settle, to make a life for themselves. And Roanoke, well, let's just say it wasn't exactly the Garden of Eden.
I bet. I mean, I wouldn't want to be stuck on a tiny island with, like, mosquitoes and bad weather and who knows what else.
Exactly. So it's totally plausible that they decided, you know what? Let's see what's over that hill. Maybe there's better land, more resources, maybe even friendlier tribes.
Right. And there's that whole thing. Didn't archaeologists find some English artifacts further inland? I vaguely remember reading that.
You're right. They found stuff like pottery shards, tools, things like that, dating back to that period. So it definitely suggests some movement beyond Roanoke Island.
But again, no smoking gun.
Exactly. It's like trying to piece together a puzzle, but you're missing like half the pieces, and the picture on the box is all blurry. Intriguing, but not exactly conclusive.
Okay, so we've got 3 solid theories here. Integration with the CROATOANs, risky sea voyage, inland exploration. But I feel like we're just scratching the surface here. Are we ready to get a little weird?
You know I love it when things get weird. Let's do it.
Weird it is. All right, so spill the spooky stuff. What about those theories about, curses and mysterious disappearances? There's got to be some juicy ones out there.
Oh, you know there are. I mean, people have been trying to explain Roanoke for centuries. So naturally, you've got everything from like angry spirits to vanishings into thin air.
Right. And don't forget that whole Edgar Allan Poe connection. Didn't he say CROATO on his deathbed or something?
He did. Can you imagine Poe on his deathbed muttering about the Lost Colony? That's enough to give anyone chills. But honestly, that's a whole other rabbit hole we could go down.
Oh, I bet. Another time. Another time.
Definitely. But look, as much as I love a good spooky story, it's important to, keep things grounded in reality, as much as we can with a mystery like this anyway.
Totally. So less Poe, more like practical. What about disease? Could some unknown illness have wiped them out?
No, that's a theory that holds some weight. I mean, think about it, right? European diseases, things like smallpox, measles, those absolutely ravaged Native American populations during colonization. It was devastating.
Oh, absolutely. It was like a whole other kind of enemy they brought with them, unintentionally or not.
Right, and it's not a stretch to think that maybe, just maybe, something similar happened at Roanoke. Maybe the colonists unknowingly carried something with them, some bug or virus that spread like wildfire.
So like a silent killer, everyone's gone, and all that's left is that haunting word CROATOAN carved into a post.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe it was a message, maybe the survivors, if there were any, they were trying to tell future visitors what happened, like a warning of sorts.
Ooh, a warning. Now that's an image. But see, this is what gets me about Roanoke. It's like you stare into the past and you get these glimpses, these fragments, but the whole picture, it's like it's lost to time.
It's the ultimate unsolved mystery. We've got the word, the rumors, the whispers of disease and curses, but no concrete answers. And honestly, I think that's what makes it so endlessly fascinating.
Totally. It's like our brains just can't handle not knowing. We have to fill in the blanks.
Exactly. And with a mystery like Roanoke, we've got centuries of speculation, of theories, of people trying to make sense of it all. It's like a giant historical jigsaw puzzle with half the pieces missing.
And no one knows what the picture on the box is supposed to be. So where does that leave us?
I think it leaves us with more questions than answers, which, let's be honest, is part of the fun. But I think, more importantly, it reminds us that history isn't just about dates and names.
Right. It's about people.
Exactly. It's about real people like you and me who lived and loved and feared and dreamed just like we do. And sometimes their stories, well, they don't have neat and tidy endings. Sometimes the mystery is part of the story.
I like that. The mystery is part of the story. And I guess, in a way, it keeps their story alive, right?
Yeah.
Because we're still talking about them hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
So what do you think really happened at Roanoke?
Honestly, if I knew that, I'd be writing best-selling history books, not podcasts. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? We get to speculate, we get to look at the evidence, weigh the possibilities, and come to our own conclusion.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, hit us up on our socials. Let us know your theories. What do you think happened to the Lost Colony of Roanoke? Because after 400 years, this mystery, it still got us hooked.